And we are live. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Thanks for dropping by. As always, Bronze Dragon here, talking Atlas Earth, the happenings, what's been going on, what's new in game or what's coming in game on a Sunday basis, Sunday by Sunday basis. I believe this is episode number 24, if I'm thinking correctly. So thanks for dropping by, whether it's morning, evening, or afternoon in your area of the world. I appreciate your time as always. Uh, you know, the AMA happened 2 weeks ago, but they took several days to edit it and whatever else, and it went live this last week for people who could not, go to the original, attend the original, got to see it. So that's a big thing we can talk about because there's a lot of, there's a decent amount of information that Sami answered questions about. We can also talk about what you've been up to in Atlas Earth. I'll just start it off. I'm kind of in the same situation where I was last week because I haven't bought any more parcels. I'm in an interesting situation here because I'm almost at the top of the 3 times tier. I'm 50 away, but I was saving those 50 for next month so that I can use them for my challenge ladder, buy parcel challenges, right? But then I'll be at the top of the 3 times multiplier. And that's kind of an interesting situation because I'll be going into the 2 times tier where that's the last tier I will have to worry about. Thank goodness. But it's a rather large tier jump. So I'm still considering how I'm going to do that because if I go ahead and use my 50 parcels, come to the top of my 3 times tier, in next month, September, then I will have to save up something like 22,000 Atlas bucks before I can make that tier jump. So, I'm going to be doing a video specifically on this addressing. There's a lot of people say, oh, don't worry about tier jumping. Well, guess what? I'm going to look at the numbers and show you exactly how much money you're giving up if you don't tier jump. So that should be interesting, but that is coming in the future. And it might take me a couple months to save that up. So what that means is I will have to try to complete the challenge ladder without buying parcels. So stay tuned to see how that goes. But let's go ahead and jump into chat and see what everybody's up to and see what everybody wants to talk about. Let's see here. Gabrielle's here. Welcome. Says, Bronzy, I need to share with you my luck. I could use all the luck I can get, so thanks for sending it out. DJ Dub Stomps in the house. Welcome. Says, aloha, aloha, y'all. That's interesting you said aloha because I was just watching a show with my wife and daughter we watch on Sunday morning. It's the CBS Sunday morning show, and they did this whole story on leis from Hawaii and building them. So that was interesting. Donnie S. is in the house, says, good evening from the Netherlands. Well, thanks for joining us, Donnie. Last week, I bought 7 badges, but got 100 AB back because of 5 villages small. I was mayor. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's worth it taking over mayor if you can because, you never know. Whenever people are going to buy badges and it's catching on in the Netherlands, more people playing, and you can start raking in that AB just because you may have, mayor somewhere and somebody happens to be traveling through your area and grabbing a badge. So I'm still at 4. I need to, that's another interesting part of my situation is I'm only going to have 50 parcels to spend or to buy next month. I need to lay down 25 of them here in my home area because I got somebody else working on me as far as they're not, they did buy up some AB to make a big jump, but they're still about 50 behind me. I just want to keep it that way, right? But then I'll just have 25 to lay on the other area, which would be my 5th area where I'm trying to take over mayor. But, I need like about 350 to take that over. So it's just something I'm incrementally working on. But I got to continue to keep my eyes on my home areas where I've got people sneaking up on me. It's not really sneaking up on me because I know about them. I'm keeping tabs on this. And thank goodness for the new map feature, right? Because then I can look around and not have to actually drive around to keep tabs on all these. Let's see who else is here. Mr. Viper's here. Good morning, Atlas Earthlings. Hey, it's Sherry. Good morning to you, Sherry. Cerezy's here. Welcome, Cerezy. Good morning to you as well. Donnie S. says, Annalise on her way with an update. Well, I see she's in the house. I don't know what kind of update she has. But I will say that if you haven't seen the AMA they posted last week, a few days ago, go ahead and check that out after you watch this live stream. And speaking of that, if you're watching this live stream and you like this live stream on a weekly basis, please take a second and leave a like on the video. And this tells Atlas, or it tells YouTube that people are liking this live stream, and it'll put it in front of more people. So I appreciate that. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because as always, that helps. Let's see here. Mr. Viper asks, how is everyone doing? I'm doing okay. Can't complain. Still above dirt, right? Annalise says, I am here. Can't guarantee on an update though. And hey, Angelo's in the house. Welcome, Angelo, a new channel member. Appreciate the support. Brandtastic is in the house. Welcome, Brandon. And he says he's feeling good. Cerezy says, I've been hardcore grinding Disney Solitaire this week. You and me, bro. You and me too. Made it up to level 425, but I'm still on scene number 9. I don't know what level I'm on. I'm not that high, but I am. I'll have to check. I'm not that high. I don't even know what. Let me check. Since we're talking about it, it just seems like I can do a few levels. I'll log on in the morning. I can do a few levels, and it'll let me clear like 3 or 4 hands, and then. Wow, that's huge. My phone just blew up on my other screen, just like to take up the whole screen. I guess Solitaire, you can go full screen with it on your computer. I am on the Toy Story level, so that gives you some idea. And I'm almost completed it. I'm trying to get back to Atlas Earth here. Yeah, so I'm on the I'm almost done with the Toy Story level, whatever level that is. This is supposed to get smaller. Okay. So yeah, I've been working on that. Is also Royal Flush or Royal whatever, that one game that we see 1,000 commercials for. Been trying to work through there too. It seems like you get to a certain point, then they let you have enough to like get through like 3 or 4 matches or boards. And then you start running out of gold coins or whatever it takes to make another hand. You know, sometimes it seems like they just like throw some insane hard level at you, so you just can't make it through. Hey, Donnie, welcome. Donnie has just become a member of the channel. Thanks for becoming a hatchling. I appreciate it. You will have access to the emojis now. So. I'm scrolling back through chat. I have to skip back and forth in chat to keep this thing going. Lady Sharon's here. Welcome, Sharon. Says, good morning. I've been a bad girl. Oh, my. I still have not done those 70 parcels. Stuff came up. I needed to do it today, though. Oh, yeah. Real life happens, as it's always said, right? Like I said, get a plan, come up with your plan, and stick to it. Annalise says, Brandon says, what does AMA stand for? And then Annalise answered, it says, ask me anything. So, yeah, this is kind of like a acronym that refers to these type shows where it's generally somebody that's in charge, and then they take questions from people who play their game, or my company does it with the big boss man once a month, where people, employees can ask questions. It's usually kind of like brown noser questions, but you know how that goes. But yeah, it means ask me anything. Lee is here. Welcome, Lee. Says, good morning, sir. 2 questions, if you wouldn't mind. 1, what are you personally looking forward to most that's coming in game? And 2, if you could add or do absolutely anything to Atlas Earth, what would it be? Oh my, that is an interesting set of questions. First of all, what am I looking forward to most that's currently coming in game? The one thing that I am looking forward to most really is, I don't want to say the restructuring, but the continued work on the AMP program. I would look forward to recently, and recently I mean by about 3 months ago, several big companies have left the AMP program, so I'm using it a lot less. But if you caught the AMA, Sami said that there's continued work on in fact, he referred to it as there's really been a lot of work on the AMP program. I would love to see it go into other countries. I understand the financial and banking laws and credit laws and things, the reason behind why it's not there. I would love to see that go to other countries. I would also love to see that program work much more efficiently and get bigger, so that one of their points is being able to sell that service to other companies that want to use that kind of AMP service. So the improvement and enlargement of the AMP program as giving us more options is what I'm looking forward to, because that the AMP program, frankly, has helped my play. I know I can hear those people in other countries like, oh, we want the AMP program. I understand. I completely understand. I'm on the same page with you. But I've got to be real. The AMP program has really helped my play over the first, I've been playing for 16 months now. And being able to get, I was buying salads once a week for my family. I was buying yogurt once a week for lunch at work. And each of those I was getting 4 to 1 Atlas bucks, you know. It really helped my improvement and my building of my account, or the land I have, over the first year that I was playing. So I'm really looking forward to that. From an I don't want to say engineer or a developer's mindset. My mindset is I'm an IT guy, and I'm not necessarily a developer, but I work in a company that we produce software, right? And I can see that the new restructuring of the game is going to serve several purposes. It's not just an artwork change, okay? To me, I can see that in the background, they're probably going to redo the back end of the game as well, somewhat, so that this is going to run better on a wider variety of phones. I didn't hear this from Sami, or I didn't hear this from the team. This is just my thoughts as I'm hearing him talk about this and seeing the artwork and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to people having fewer problems. It's obvious that there are many more people on a worldwide basis that are playing games on Android phones than there are Apple phones, and people just can't. Most people in the world are not as well off as I'm blessed, right? I'm not well off. I'm not a rich guy, right? I've got a 9 to 5, 8:30 to 5 job every day, and I've got a roof over my house, or a roof over my head, and I've got food to eat. But I'm a lot better off than a lot of people. A lot of people are playing with phones that are, many years old, right? So this could be a game that they could play and earn a little extra money that will significantly help them out, So I could see, whereas redesigning the game and re-engineering the game, yeah, it's going to have different artwork, but it's also, from the back end standpoint, going to run on a much larger selection of phones and give fewer problems. I'm looking forward to that as well. Wow, I really went off on that question, didn't I? And I'll have to, Lee, I'll have to think on that number 2 question. If I could add or do absolutely anything to Atlas Earth, what it would be. Recently I've liked the idea of, I've been using Cashwalk. I've liked the idea of these apps that incorporate walking and step counting to be able to earn money, or I would like to be able to earn money, but most of them are like gift cards and such. I would like to see something like that incorporated into Atlas Earth, because the whole idea is exploring the Earth, right? So why not walk and get credit for that? Of course, a lot of these apps, most of what you're doing is watching ads, right? Yeah, you're getting points for doing your steps, but most of what you're doing is watching ads, which is what, once again, Atlas Earth is based upon. So it's all advertising, right? So I do like that idea. I'll throw that out. Sharon says, Lady Sharon says, and I do have a question. I noticed that when you put up your stuff, you put music behind it. If I noticed that when you put up your stuff, you put music behind it. If I were for funds and for fun and grins to put up the parcel opening on YouTube, do I need to do that? You don't need to do anything. I put music behind my parcel turnovers just to give some audio there. And the music I use is YouTube, and if you're a YouTube creator, you have the option to use some music that people create, and it you don't have to pay them money for it. And I would make sure that you can't just slap any music behind your videos, okay? You have to be very specific and make sure that you're not going to get in trouble for it. And if you have any questions, let me know. You can ping me on Discord and I'll give you a few tips. But you have to be very careful about the audio and the video you use. Like, you know, if you're using movies or you're using music, you can't just go slap your favorite song. I can't just go slap some ZZ Top behind my parcel openings because I like ZZ Top, right? So be very careful about that. Gabrielle says, Bronzy, I spent 2 weeks where my parents have a second house. Nice. Bought 7 parcels. Try to guess the rarity. 2 commons, 3 epics. Wow, you got 2 legendaries in 7 parcels? Wow, you should have gone out immediately and bought a lotto ticket. I went 50 parcel. You know, just in fact, this last opening, I went over and I bought 25 parcels, not a single legendary. I did get 4 epics, but no legendaries. There was one time where I went like 13 commons in a row. So the average, don't worry about it though. You were lucky, but over time your averages average out. That's why they're called averages, right? So I can do, you know, show my numbers on the calculator and they'll be pretty much average. I'm a little bit above average on legendaries because I've been using my LPUs, right? So if you follow the monthly challenge ladder and you complete it and get the LPU if you're subscribed, then continually to doing that, and for me, remembering to put your LPUs down will put your average on legendaries a little bit higher than the normal 5%, but it'll just help you out in the future. But good luck. Or I mean, it sounds like you had some good luck this last week. Lady Sharon asks, is it against the terms of service to have the natural music? I'm not monetized and nobody will probably watch it anyway. I don't think it's against the terms of service to have the music from Atlas Earth on it. However, I didn't even know. First of all, I didn't know Atlas Earth had, I know it has sound effects, but I didn't know it had any music. I don't think they're going to be worried about that. In fact, it helps the company for people like me and you and whoever else is doing videos. There's several more. Since I've, especially in the last 2 months, there's been an explosion of people starting to do Atlas Earth. I know Butterbean started, and there's a few others. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting everybody's names, but I try to go view your videos and I try to help people out by, here's the thing. If you see new people that you like what they're doing, remember to leave a like on their video, and you've heard this 100 times, and obviously subscribe to their channel, and also remember to leave a comment in their video, because the more comments, even if you just say something like, hey, this is great, or thanks for the report, or something like that, that shows interaction to YouTube, and that makes YouTube say, hey, people are liking this video. I'm going to send that out more, right? So it just helps us out. So anyway, I've seen more people starting Atlas Earth videos. So the thing about starting videos is just jump in, start it. I started this several years ago, my channel that is, covering a different game, and I started covering Atlas Earth last year in the spring, and my channel has just slowly went up in people watching, and I try to learn new things to make my videos a little bit better. I admit I'm still on the low end of as far as I try to use my personality, and I try to get across information and try to be a little bit funny in the process, right? But I do like taking advantage of things like AI and making artwork and stuff like that whenever I can. So, and trying to get a little bit better, just like anything else you do in life, right? You just try to get a little bit better incrementally. So, yeah, if you get it, if you start into it and you want some comments from me, let me know. Just ping me in Discord. And I've helped out several people get started, and I've got really no secrets as far as how I do my videos or anything. Mr. Viper says, I've been saving my Atlas bucks, and Brandon thanked Annalise for her comment. Annalise says, Lady Sharon, the Atlas music is not copyrighted. You're good to put that up in some music. Good. Yeah, I would say that from a YouTuber type standpoint, be very careful about the music that you put up, because if it's copyrighted, you're just going to get in trouble. You're going to get a copyright strike, and then you're going to have to pull that video down. And then if you get too many strikes, they just turn your channel off, you know, so it's not worth it. Be very careful. I always use non-monetized music, which is available directly in the Atlas Earth in the YouTube studio, right? Or you can just search for it online, right? Brandon says, Atlas Earth surveys and the map is now working on my Chromebook. I think an update fixed it. Well, that's nice. I find surveys easier to do on the computer versus the phone. However, I find that the surveys they throw at me are the higher end surveys, worth more, but the more they're worth, the more selective they are on who they're going to have. And it kind of makes sense, right? These high payment surveys are only looking for a very specific set of people, you know, and if you happen to be that specific set of people in that demographic, then you can make a good amount of Atlas bucks. Either way, I find that the surveys that I get on the website in the browser are higher end than the ones that I actually get on my phone. Maybe that's just me. Which means that I'll try to do a few on my computer in the browser, and I'll get like kicked out of like 4 in a row before I actually get to one, you know. Okay. Let's jump back into chat. Before we get too far in chat, I wanted to mention something. There was 2 big takeaways that I got out of the AMA this last week. And I think the AMA can generally be summarized as Sami clarifying that we're working on a lot of things and we're still not done with any of them. I think that's obviously he is very, vocal about being happy about where the game is, and has this huge vision for the game. And, he's discussing that. Several work streams in work, but once again, same thing we've been hearing for months, right? Several things being worked on. Obviously they're not going to put dates on completions, but the 2 things that I really found interesting were the fact that he verified that the astronaut is not going away. And this was an interesting thing for me, because from that new piece of artwork, as far as they're going to redo everything, it showed a little triangle, which I figured was a placeholder. But with how everything else is being redone with more of an explorer aspect, you know, the wheel being redone as a compass, etc. I figure it would be a little Explorer or something like that. But he said the astronaut's not going away. That is their company logo / mascot, whatever. So I found that interesting. And also, I'm forgetting the second thing. I'll come back to that when I remember it. Let's see here. Oh, I did find it interesting that he said every single piece of artwork within the game is being redone. Oh, I know the second thing. Previously, you know, one of the big asks out of people, ever since I can remember playing, is that they would like a total on this page you're seeing on my phone right now. And obviously, that comes into play when you're thinking about, hey, am I going over my parcel limit for my tier, right? And people just generally want just to have a total. And you could figure that it would be handy to have a total on this page, right? Well, I specifically think in my mind that they specifically, I said specifically 3 times in one paragraph, did not put it in there because it benefits them when you do break tier, right? They make money off of you, right? So he said that, you know, somebody had asked, can you put that in? And he agreed. Yeah, it'd be good. And since they're redoing every single page within the game, they can do it. So that's the second really big thing I found. Other than the fact that, you know, obviously he said everything is being redone artwork wise within the game. So a lot of information that, well, I think there was a lot of hopefulness in that AMA. Not a lot of information. These things that I've been talking about are just these little bits of information that I actually did get. Everything else I got out of the AMA was, well, we're working on it, you know, so, but that's life. He just has chosen not to talk about specifics so that they can't be boxed in on anything, right? And held accountable. Sorry, I had to reload my page. It just went dead, my YouTube page. Sorry about that. Now I'm just catching my place in chat. Cerezy says, I'll also be ready to do another tier jump later this week. Still deciding where I will place my parcels at. I probably will just reinforce one of my current mayorships. Yeah, you continually have to look at that. You've got to figure out, once you get some mayorships, which ones you really want to make sure you keep. Obviously, those are the ones that are bringing in Atlas bucks from badges, and reinforce those. It's kind of like what I'm doing with my home area. I'm not giving up my home area unless some whale blows through town and puts like a couple thousand down. Then I'll not have it anymore. I don't think it would be worth a couple thousand, but. Brandon says, I wish there was an optional notification that we could turn on and off about when there's a new badge to buy when we get to a new area. That would be nice. That would be nice not to have to continually open up the page to see if you could buy it, right? Gabrielle says, Annalise, are you the real Annalise? Yes, she is the real, in fact, Annalise. Would the real Annalise please stand up? Brandon says, do you think it's worth converting $100 back into Atlas bucks to get an LPU? No, I do not, Brandon. Lady Sharon says, great, thanks. Hey, Weird Mix is in the house. Good morning to you, Weird Mix. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you happen to be. BTC Backpacker is in the house. Says, good morning, sir. Have a wonderful day from the great state of Idaho. Well, welcome, and hope you have a good day as well. Janice M. Florida is here. Glad to make it. Hello, everyone. Well, hey, Janice, thanks for dropping by. as always. Appreciate it. Gabrielle says, oh, nice to know you. I saw you a few days ago in the long video from the CEO. Well, if you think that hour-long video was long, the other game I cover, Splinterlands, their monthly meeting is more than 2 hours long, which takes me quite a while to get through. But yeah, it was a nice set of information once in a while from Sami. Brandon says, when is the daily FAQ shorts happening? I don't know. Would you consider being on the next live AMA interview with all the Atlas Earth members? I'm not quite sure they want me on that. I don't know. If they ask me, sure, I would. I don't know. I don't know what I can add to that situation. The way they've set it up is they take questions from the audience or from players ahead of time, right? The questions are cold, probably by the way, whatever Sami wants to answer. And then, either Annalise or one of the other hosts just ask him the question. So there's not a whole lot I can add to that situation. So, but if there was another type of video where they wanted to have multiple people on and asking and answering questions, more than happy to help out and be pitch in. Bladester is here. Thanks, Bladester, for dropping by. Says happy Sunday. Brandon says, I do copy and paste comments and paste from my iPhone notes to YouTube comments to make it go faster. Interesting. Axanus is here. Welcome, Axanus. I love to see new names in the house. Feels weird being awake this early. Let me watch live through, though, instead of catching up tomorrow at work. Well, thanks for dropping by, as always. Have a nice, large viewing audience is always good for the conversation. Cerezi says, I managed to complete the sticker album on the solitaire game and got that big 500,000 coin bonus. Well, I would imagine it would help out. Yeah, that my sticker collection is going along fine, but I haven't filled all of it up yet. Once in a while, I complete one of the little ones, but it helps out. Brandon says, are you going an extra 30 minutes today or make less rants? I don't know. We'll just have to see. I usually look at how the conversation is going right about 1 o'clock or, after the show's been going for an hour. If the conversation is kind of trickling off, then I go ahead and close off the show. If it's still going strong, I keep going. It seems logical to me because it's really hard as a live streamer to keep things going if people are not talking about stuff, because I can comment, ask questions, answer questions, that kind of thing. But if I have to keep going and I don't have an extra half hour worth of content, which doing a half-hour show takes a while. If I do a half-hour show, most times my videos are 15, 20-ish minutes, sometimes shorter, but doing that 15 minutes takes me about 3 hours on a nightly basis. So coming up with all that content and then being able to edit and everything. So either way, when we get an hour into the show, I see how the conversation is going. If it's still going strong, we keep going. If not, then we go ahead and call it a day. That's how I've been running it. Richard Brown's in the house. Richard says, is there any talk in incorporating a step tracker to earn Atlas bucks? And it can be where you would have to watch 10 consecutive ads for every 100 AB earned. Well, I throw that out because somebody had brought it up here a while back, and I just like the idea, right? There has been no discussion from Sami or anybody else on the team as far as this goes. I just pulled it out there because it seems to me like it's one of those things that they could pull in as a third-party app, kind of like this other things they got going under this umbrella, and they could probably make it work. Obviously, they would have to look into how they would do the ads, how many you would watch, how many Atlas bucks it would be worth, all this thing. And it would basically come down to, you get a few Atlas bucks for doing a certain amount of steps on a weekly basis, but you would also have to watch ads and everything, which would give them more ad revenue, right? So I think it would be a great thing to add to the game. But from a team's perspective, I've absolutely heard Sami or nobody else on the team, such as Annalise, talk about this. It would be a good thing, Annalise, to bring up if you can in one of your meetings. There might be a hard no. There might be a reason Sami has to say, no, that's not going to fit into what we want to do. But on the flip side, it might be something they've already looked at. Who knows? But it seems to me like it'd be a good idea. Gabrielle says, Richard, 10 ads for 100 Atlas bucks is like 5 times more than what they give to us in 10 times global. They don't make as much from ads as in 2021. So no, they can't do that. Obviously, they'd have to look at the numbers on the back end and see what would work with the company. And everything breaks down to the company has to make the profit on it, right? Otherwise, it's not worth doing it for them. The other thing, you brought this up, that I found interesting for the AMA is that a lot of we hear a lot of discussion about these mini games, especially worldwide, but I found out that the company is taking a loss on these mini games outside of the United States due to the ads and how little the ads make worldwide compared to in the United States. So I found that very interesting. He did say in the last AMA that the extra profit, so to speak, off of the mini games in the United States does go to help float the other mini games outside of the United States. So I found that interesting. And also his discussion about how people outside of the United States, and I'm not trying to get off on this rant, but I found this interesting information, is that a lot of people complain, oh, in the United States, you get 2 Atlas bucks for watching an ad. We only get 1. Well, he said by the math, you really should have to watch 10 ads to get 1 Atlas bucks outside the United States, how the numbers work down. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to be real about how things are working out and how it all comes down to marketing. So Brandon says, I would like to see some kind of fitness program like walking or cycling or Atlas bucks. I agree. Donnie says landmarks will be released in 2026. Who knows at this point? He did say on the AMA that the development work behind that feature, as well as probably the auction that goes along with it, has proven to be very in depth and a lot to it. It's not an easy thing. So, as far as I know, it's still in the makings for 2025. But if it slipped to 2026, nothing would surprise me at this point, right? Brandon says, hey, Bronze, do you think you'll consider using PayPal credit card to pay for your challenge ladder and get a little cash back from it since it's a cashback credit card? Just asking. While that is a valid thing to do, no, I won't. I use one credit card is from my main credit union. I do get points of a certain nature that we use once in a while. So everything that I earn most everything I earn off of the game is put into PayPal savings, and I earn I think it's 3.8% right now. Then I remove the $10 that I spend on the challenge ladder on a monthly basis and send it back to my regular bank account. And I spend about $4 a month, I found, on the rent to Atlas bucks conversion, just to complete those first couple levels of the challenges, because they are pretty well, you get a decent amount of points for them. So probably would not doing that. And the older I get, even when I was young, okay, I can put this out as a graybeard. Keep control of your expenses, right? You don't want too many credit cards. I know some people have this complicated strategy of using this credit card to pay off this one and pay off this one and get points here. Guess what? If you're in that situation, there's too many things that can fail. And if they do fail, you'll find yourself in a pot of hot water. Keep your credit card usage to 1, maybe 2. And this is from an old guy that's had a lot of experience with this. And then you can keep up to date on your expenses on those credit cards much easier than if you had several credit cards to keep your eyes on. So, yeah, I know. I went off on a little journey there with my gray beard. Arbin's here. Good morning to you, Arbin. Axana says, how much do you guys make in Atlas Buck a month on average? I would have to think about it, but I've been able to upkeep, the last few months, I've been able to buy 100 parcels a month and still have a little bit of extra to keep going. But I'm not your average person. I'm here in the States, first of all. I'm a YouTuber. I do get a little bit of Atlas Bucks off of my referral code, which they haven't put back into play yet, but I'm still using my old referral code. I used to earn a lot of Atlas Bucks, well, a fair amount of Atlas Bucks off of the AMP program, which outside of the United States you can't have or you don't have. Not so much anymore. Although we did use the AMP program two times last week, actually, because I had to go get an air cleaner for my wife's car to put in. And then we had food from one place. But I'm no longer getting that 4-to-1. I'm down to 1-to-1. So looking forward to seeing what happens of the AMP program going forward. I'm also, frankly, looking forward to seeing what happens for the referral program, because I think the referral program is great for the company, but apparently something's happened to where they had to take it offline, and I don't know, redesigning everything, getting a different provider of it. I don't know. Maybe it's all going to come back into play whenever they do the art overhaul and back end overhaul. Donnie says, problem with Atlas Earth here is that a lot of people in the Netherlands, and I think big part of Europe, don't use and have credit cards, so they don't buy AEC and ladder bonus. Yeah, well, the whole point behind it is, the whole world is a problem. Yeah, it's definitely a good point, right? But the whole world has come down to this, right? As far as everything's a subscription now, right? And games were the first to do it. Games have been doing the subscription model, software as a service, a SaaS model, since, the 90s, late 90s, right? The games were first to do it, and now everything is doing it. You can't go out and buy a copy of Microsoft Office anymore. You have to subscribe to it. Well, I guess you can if you buy an older version, but they're going to push you into the subscription. You can't buy Photoshop anymore. You got to buy the subscription, so on and so forth. Everything is a subscription because they know they want to get your credit card on file so they can charge you every month. Now, can you go in and cancel it? Sure. But you have to remember to cancel it. And, I'm guilty of forgetting to cancel things once in a while, right? So my point is, it's not Atlas Earth. It's just how software has gone, right? And even the product I work on at work, we used to be an on-prem install. In other words, our people would go into big companies, install our software on premises, and they would use it, right? Now, in the last 10 years, we've transferred to being an online software. It basically does the same thing, but you access it. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on tablet. But once again, it is a monthly charge, a recurring charge. That's how software companies work these days. The number of people actually doing like waterfall method, design a product, iron all the bugs out of it, and then to get out the door, it's not very popular anymore. Everybody wants to get everything out the door and then fix bugs as they go and charge people as they go. So I can see, as a society, I can understand that. But, I guess it is what it is. People just have to understand, I guess, if you want that, you have to be subscribed. Brandon says, hey, Bronze, would you consider buying a couple of LPUs? No, I wouldn't. Let me restate that. I always consider it, but I always consider my 2,500 Atlas Bucks better used on 25 parcels. Now, I will say that the artwork has been really cool the last few months. I've really enjoyed the artwork. But to me, and I really enjoy earning my LPU on a monthly basis for subscribing to the ladder and completing the challenges. But to me, I'd rather use that 2,500 Atlas Bucks to just buy 25 parcels. And we have, people bring this up on my comments on my videos once in a while. That, you know, especially when you get to where I am and you start accruing mayorships, those 25 Atlas bucks or 25 parcels can mean more to you than just 25 parcels. Because if that 25 parcels allows you to keep a new mayorship, that could mean some extra Atlas bucks on the side because people are buying badges, right? So, but from a gameplay perspective, I love the artwork, but I've never been a guy who went into a game and spent a bunch of money just to make my character look cool. I've never been that guy. I'd be the guy in the raid that had the most jalopy looking outfit. As long as it gave me bonuses that I needed on my character, that was me. But I looked like I just walked out of the thrift store, right? I didn't care. Same thing in this game. I can understand how people like that, and more power to you. If that's the way you want to play a game, go for it. But to me, I'd rather spend the $2,500 on 25 parcels. Martin Ray's in the house. Welcome, Martin. Thanks for dropping by. Lady Sharon says, you just got to my question about the music. I probably won't put any on currently. I was originally thinking of playing Spotify while opening, but that won't work. No, it won't work. If you open, I'll shoot you just ping me in Discord after we're done, and I'll give you a few other instructions on actually what to use as your music and be safe about it, okay? We can discuss it. Lady Sharon says, I probably will have questions about editing videos in the future. Yeah, I mean, shoot me a question if you have it. Like I said, here's the thing. I don't have a whole lot of time in my day to devote to, I try to discuss with people the different questions they throw at me and everything, but I've got so much going on that I try to answer as much as possible. I just don't have time to sit down and talk for an hour about one specific topic, except for during these live streams. But I can, I've helped a few people get started, and I can throw you some general knowledge from the gray beard, right? Antonio's here. Welcome, Antonio. Says, hello, I've just started playing and would like to know if you've already tried to withdraw money. I've done more than try. I've withdrawn a lot. I've withdrawn $460 odd. So I want to see if I can show that screen on. Show that on screen without divulging too much information. Yeah, I'm not going to try it because I just don't want to show any personal information. But yes, I have. Now, your options, Antonio, if you happen to be from Europe, which I'm just taking that because your name sounds Italian or kind of Italian, you know, your options in Europe are going to be a little bit different. But I primarily, I all the time use PayPal, right? And PayPal removal, I've done it on video before, and it takes like 2 minutes. I have heard from people in Europe, though, that, and in fact, it was a question in the AMA that Sami said he's going to look into. Because I hear in Europe, if you removed PayPal, there's an extra fee, which Sami did not like the sound of, because they apparently pay a huge fee on their end as well for the removal to PayPal. So it's like we're getting double charged, you know. So either way, the answer to your question is I've removed a number of times. I usually remove about. I'm making about $45 a month at this point. I've been playing for 16 months. I remove about $45 to $50 a month. $10 of that goes to my Challenge Ladder subscription. The rest just goes into PayPal savings. PayPal does have a separate savings account when you open your PayPal account that you can just transfer money to. It just takes a click of a button, right? And then you can start earning, I think I'm making like 3.8% interest right now. So it's a little bit extra, but that total serves me more as a running total as far as what profit I've made off the game. And my profit is like it's over $300 at this point. So Trying to scroll through. Got a lot of chat. Thanks everybody for dropping by. If you haven't, please leave a like on the live stream. I appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Lets the YouTube algorithm know that I'm doing something worthwhile. Brandon says, hey, Bronze, if I can ask an off-related political question. I heard that we might get tariff rebate checks. I don't do politics on this channel. This channel is about playing games. And I play games at the end of the night on my daily... I've done this for years. Ever since the really advent of computer games, I've used games to kind of be that time during the day where I'm not thinking about daily real life, like politics and other crap that makes me pissed off. Sorry. So no, I'm not doing politics on this channel. And if you bring it up, then if people start bringing up politics, this is a game channel. Politics, religion, personal stuff like that, keep it out of the stream, right? Just be nice. Just be nice. And if you leave that stuff in the comments on my videos, guess what? I'll whack it. I'll whack it out. Game-related topic. Okay. Donnie says, don't forget to put down the code of Bronze Dragon. You will get 200 Atlas bucks. Yeah, if you use... I leave my referral code in the show notes of all my videos. And when you start the game, you are given one free parcel, right? You need to use the referral code exactly at that point in time. Otherwise, you won't get that extra bonus, right? Which is 200 Atlas bucks when you hit your 11th parcel, right? And along the way, what I get out of it is I get 10 Atlas bucks per parcel you buy the first 10. So I get 100 out of it, you get 200 out of it. But you have to buy it right then after you get your first free parcel. If you wait until you buy your second parcel, it's too late. So, and yes, they took that whole thing out of the game. We can still use old codes if you have them, but they're redesigning it. No exact information on that just yet. Tadstar says, I have a question. Why do you save your Atlas bucks? I keep them in, from a gameplay perspective, from a YouTuber perspective, I'm keeping them in a PayPal savings just to be a number that demonstrates how much profit I've made off the game. Okay. That's really to answer your question. It's sitting there drawing a little bit of interest, but it's a number that I can point to when I have people on my shows or whenever people ask in comments, hey, this is a scam. You can't make money off this. I'm like, well, surprise, surprise. I've made, almost almost $470 off of it, right? So it's just a number for reference, but it's also drawing interest because if I had it in my bank account, it would just be doing the same thing, right? Logan Sears is in the house. Welcome, Logan. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate seeing new names in the house. George is here. George says, I wish I was playing this game from day one. Yeah, so do I. I just started playing about 4 months ago. Yeah, it's changed, especially over the last year. The first year of it, and I wasn't playing the first year. I've been playing for 16 months now, but I've heard stories of people talking, and it's just really changed. And over the last year, it's gotten up ahead of steam. Okay, so if you're relatively new to the game was designed more as a concept, and they put it out, and it proved to be wildly popular. If you watch one of my last videos from this last week, I went through the numbers, and because I had a reply on one of my videos that said, oh, Atlas Earth is dying. Well, I know it's not dying because they wouldn't be going to all this advancement effort and putting money into redesigning the game and all this stuff we've been talking about if the game was dying. If the game was dying, they would just be sitting back and drawing as much profit as they possibly could before they had to close the doors on it, right? They're putting a lot of money and effort into bringing this game forward, as well as over the last 6, 8, 12 months, bringing it to more people on the earth as far as going live in more countries, right? So there's a lot of work involved in doing that. So they wouldn't be doing it if it was dying. Either way, I took that opportunity to actually look at some of the numbers I could actually get off how well the game is doing. In fact, if you want to hear the specifics, go back and watch those videos. I dropped two pretty nice videos this last week that are definitely worth watching, I think. Well, I think all my videos are worth watching, but it proves how wildly popular Atlas Earth has proven and how it's got a head of steam behind it. So Alfie's here. Welcome, Alfie. Alfie drops in and out of my chat. Oh, by the way, I will mention I do have a channel Discord that if you can draw, it's in the show notes. You can join the channel Discord, and we have discussions going on a daily basis. I have an Atlas Earth channel within channel within my channel that if you have questions, you want to comment, other than the official Atlas Earth Discord as well. So that's worth mentioning. Caveman Cannabis is here. Welcome, Captain Caveman. Good morning. Paul's here. Paul says, love to see spit and polish on the game. I know it takes time to rework and evolve the platform. Definitely. And that's why I feel like I think a lot of us old graybeards, if you want to admit it, even if you're a woman and you don't have a gray beard, if you're older like me, you played games over the years. And some games, they build out and they patch, and they're just never going to run really efficiently because it's just like a bunch of Band-Aids on top of each other, keeping the thing going. At a certain point, you have to ask yourself as a developer, this just needs to be redesigned. And I think they're at that point. They're at the point where the game was wildly popular, and the game is doing what it can do. There are a decent amount of people that have problems here and there with it, bugs and not working on some phones, etc. So they were just at the point where they just need to redo it. So that's what they're in the process of. And the artwork, from what it looks like, is going to be much easier on the compute of the device, which is, you know, the CPU and the memory and everything within the phone, so it can be lighter weight of an app. In other words, not take as strong a computer or not require a new phone to run it, right? Okay, let's see here. Lawrence says, when is the big update? Anyone know? Well, I don't think it's going to be one big update, and nobody knows, because that's one of the things from the AMA. They're just being tight-lipped about it because they don't want to be cornered. But I don't think it's going to be one big update. I think it's going to be a series of updates that we're going to notice gradually. Of course, there's going to probably be one big one that everybody notices when they decide to update all the artwork, right? But they have not given any dates. Lady Sharon says, Bronze has withdrawn money. He'll probably answer that, but so have a lot of people have, including myself. Yeah, one of the things, and the way you draw out money has changed a little bit over time. When I first started, the withdrawals were kind of, they had to have, people had to look at it. Actually, it at a certain level, if you were over a certain level, it required somebody on the Atlas Earth team to look at it and verify it before the money was released. That was changed last year, and like I said, I've never had a problem, and I've probably removed money more than 20 times at this point, right? And in fact, most of the people I hear talk about it on Reddit and everything, they just don't have problems. There may be some tricks depending upon where you live. Like I said, I was noticing, or people have been reporting, that PayPal in Europe has an extra fee on it. So you might have to decide whether you want to use PayPal or one of the other options. But there's several options. There's a lot of options. Lady Sharon says that is cool that they are going to put a total in now. They just need to put a total points in the ladder point area, and we really need a compass. Yeah, that's another place where definitely would be nice to have a totals. But I think once again, I know I'm a pessimist, but I'm looking at these things from the back end standpoint. Is they want people to do more challenges than what they actually need. So, and that's what not having a total there gets you into. But be nice to see. Logan says, this is my first time in the stream. Must be having a blast in here. Well, thanks for dropping by. It's always nice to have a bunch of people in here talking about different things about Atlas Earth. Is Minecore, if you're wondering, it's Minecore. Lady Sharon says, also, I would love an increase to the text size, especially right below the boost area. I can't guess. I can't always read the time left, even when reading glasses. Yeah, it would be nice to have some different availabilities. Like I can't even hardly read the font on the stream or and on the feed rather. And they're redoing that. That's one of the big updates coming. I can't even read that font size, even with my reading glasses. I have to, I had to bring it up. Tadstar says, why do you say, I think I already answered that. Like I said, I already answered that. I keep that as a running total so I can earn interest on it and also show in my videos what I've actually earned off the game. Caveman says, one thing I was thinking of was if they had two Atlas Earth apps, the regular and beta, with a small reward for beta use that would allow us to contribute reports to test and fix more hands-on. Well, a lot of games do that, right? As far as, and they offer a little bit of incentive to help them test out things. But those are usually bigger companies that run those, run separate test servers, right? Obviously, they've got their game on test servers, right? But at this point, they haven't, given anybody else access other than those that were actually doing the testing, right? JWYMC2 says, will they make it so you can use rent to buy login bonus or challenge in the app? I doubt it, because back to my point, we were talking about it earlier. What they want is they want to have your credit card on file to be able to charge you every month. That's what they want. And it's not just Atlas Earth. It's every company with a software as a service. It doesn't matter. It's called software as a service, SaaS. It's just a business model for software these days. They want to have your credit card on file to charge you on a monthly basis. And that's how the whole system is devised. Paul Haywood's here. Welcome, Paul. Good afternoon to you. Richard says, Gabrielle, I was saying 10 ads as an example. They would make it whatever. Yeah, I agree. I like the idea about as far as a step counter, but they would have to look at the numbers. They'd have to do the numbers many times to just make sure it's going to bring in what they want it to bring in, right? George says, can you only cash out to PayPal? No, there's a bunch of ways you can cash out. You can, here in the States, you can go directly to your bank account if you want to. You can, I don't know, I haven't counted how many, you can get gift cards as well. Probably, I don't know how many 100 different kinds of gift cards. You can go directly ACH to your bank account. You can go PayPal. You can actually, there's a bunch of different ways if you want to donate to charity. You can donate to charity as well. But the point is, wherever you are at in the world, you're going to have different options because every country, and this is one of the main problems with the game, is every country has different banking and charge card regulations. So different set of problems for each country, basically, to overcome. Caveman says, really cool implementation would be to collect more than diamonds, maybe like water, quickcrete, wood, hammer, nails, screws, paint brushes. We want to build our own LPUs. That's pretty heavy duty. I mean, that's an interesting idea, but I don't think it's something they're going to go into. Alessandro's here. Says, hi, Bronze. How are you? I'm doing well. I hope you are too. I've been playing quite a bit during these few days off from work. I finished my pass and I'm saving up coins for the next one to get a head start. Nice. In 6 days, I've earned 628 coins. Nice. Like I said, it's all just about steady progress. Just make steady progress on a monthly basis. After you've been playing for a few months, you kind of get a pattern of what you're likely to do on a monthly basis. Compare that to your, go over here to the page that has the charts on it, depending upon your area you play, and look at your parcels tiers and just make a plan. And maybe you can buy 20 parcels in a month, or maybe you can buy 50. Everybody plays a little bit differently, you know, but align that and make a plan with your tier chart so that you do that on a monthly basis. And sometimes some months are better than others, right? But make your plan and stick with it, and then just try to be a little bit better off than the last month, right? And obviously, when you get a few days off, you can dedicate a little bit more time to it. So, Caveman says they could have us watch an ad to collect special non-diamond items. Yeah, I mean, we all know it. It just all comes down to ads. And I think there was a few questions thrown at Sami during the AMA about watching more ads. I don't know. He says everything is being redesigned currently, really. And I wouldn't be surprised. There are some people, see, that's the thing. Some people want more ads. Some people want fewer ads. So, but the whole thing is based on ads. So, and a lot of these things, a lot of these platforms we play on, it's all based on ads, right? Alessandro says, the only downside is that surveys often close saying I'm ineligible. Yeah, otherwise I'd already be at 1,000. I currently have 5 badges and 50 parcels. I'm waiting for the next pass to buy more for mission. Yeah, I understand. You have to work in the missions. And I've talked about that a number of times. Yeah, and I understand about, it's something we all talk about as far as the surveys. It's just the way surveys work, you know. Surveys, these companies, they pay for a survey. And if I'm, I think Annalise was talking about this the other day, a makeup. If I'm a makeup manufacturer, all I'm interested in is kind of women from 18 to 40 or something like that. And that's all I'm interested in. Then if you're a guy and you get put in for this survey, they're not going to be interested in you because you don't use makeup, right? It's kind of like that with all these different products. So, or I'm assuming you don't use makeup. Joel, THLP, welcome to the channel, says, is the Explorer Club worth it with the extra 2 hours and extra spins, also with the login bonus? Well, there's a lot of people subscribe. You just kind of have to get your own value off of. Now, I did a video and I compared the amount of that you spend in US dollars to how much Atlas bucks you get out of it. The highest value by far that I came away with is the Challenge Ladder subscription, including all the extra Atlas bucks you get, as well as that LPU at the end. Great value. Now, the Explorer Club came in second to that because you do get your 90 on a daily basis, and you also after the first week, I forget, there's increments there where you get a big bonus, right? They all add up, right? A lot of people, especially on the higher end, once you a lot of times when you're getting more than $50 a month, you come to ask yourself, well, am I going to start doing this? I haven't done it yet. I'm still not at $50 yet. I'm at about $45 a month, something like that. But I'm just doing the Challenge Ladder. The extra 2 hours and extra spins are definitely just like icing on the cake, I think. I think the major value behind the Explorer Club is still all the extra Atlas bucks you get on a daily basis, right? So I think they just wanted to put a little bit of icing on the cake and make give those people that actually went in for that $50 a month a little bit extra, which is nice, you know, because that's a huge subscription, right? Logan says, "Hey Bronze, I am Minecore from Discord." Oh, okay. I didn't understand what you said at first. I'm trying to get a mayorship with someone having 292 in the city. I am at 1,092 and I'm saving Atlas bucks due to tier jump anyways. Should I save for the mayorship or tier jump be point? Well, I would try to incorporate both, frankly. I would save for your tier jump and try to make it when you do the tier jump that you take over your mayorship. It's hard. I've done it in a few situations where I had to save up quite a few months, but whenever I did it, it was like a bam, took it over and jumped forward, right? Arbin's made a few statements about Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I don't know exactly where those comments are coming from, but I have a little bit of both Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Let's see here. Caveman says, I have one secured credit card. I get 2% cash back. It's through Amazon, who I shop with from a ton. Yeah, join the club. I do too. In fact, I just ordered my dog something on Amazon this morning. I keep my spending on the credit card low and pay off quick. It's only one of those mini credit building that I use. Yeah, I understand. We pay off our credit card on a monthly basis. You know, I could go into probably do a whole hour on talking about credit because I'm an old man and I've made some mistakes. But I think I've learned from other people's mistakes that I viewed, that I knew and learned from them, so I didn't make so many mistakes, right? But this isn't a credit card class, right? So Brandon says, have you talked to Pharaoh Silver lately? Yeah, I talk to him once in a while on chatting on Discord. Are we going to see you with a pirate hat and an eye patch next week? No, I don't think so. What's the deal with a pirate hat and eye patch? He likes to do different stuff once in a while. I don't have anything against dressing up. Maybe I might do a special Halloween episode here in the end of October. Who knows? Annalise says, no, he has about 10 minutes or so left. Yeah, I just, this is kind of free form, right? It's usually an hour, but since we have a good solid amount of people that are still online and we're still discussing, I kept going. Logan says, is it an existing referral code? Because I can't create an invite leak. Correct. The system has been down for about 4 months now. People who had referral codes previous to that can still use a referral code. The old links don't work, just a referral code. And that's what I've been using. I'm using the same referral code I was using like last November sometime, right? It's still working and they're not releasing any information on that. So the only thing they've said is it's being worked on, just like everything else. I think it's a great thing for. I've benefited from it, and I think the company as a whole would benefit from everybody else passing the referral code out to get more people to download the app. Maybe the whole idea was to slow down people coming onto the app because they were getting too many people. I don't know. Hey, Heidi made it. Welcome, Heidi. Thanks for dropping by. Azor is here. Welcome. My old code doesn't work. Interesting. Oh, Annalise said mine stopped working this week, so maybe mine will stop working too. I don't know. In fact, I haven't got a referral in 10 Atlas bucks in a while. That's a shame. That's a shame because that's, to me, that's bad. To me, that's bad. It really hurts me as well. So. Yeah, I pushed the wrong button. Annalise says, other people still have working code, so I'm not sure yet what is happening with it. Crypto Limbo is here. Hey, Dragon, been watching the stream. What's your tax plan for raking in the big bucks from Atlas Earth? Well, haven't really worried about it yet. I'm not over that $600. The way everybody's going to be a little bit different depending upon your tax laws in the country you live in. Here in the States, if you make any money, you're supposed to report it. I reported it, but by the way my taxes work, it didn't make any difference, right? Technically, I think Atlas Realty, I keep getting called out because I don't know whether it's Atlas Realty or Atlas Reality. Either way, I think they said that if they send you, if you do a charge out from the company of more than $600 a year, then they have to make a report here in the States. Obviously, everywhere else, your tax laws are different, so you have to look into it. Myself, I would err on the side of caution. I always try to report it, but it usually doesn't make a difference in my taxes. So, Preview This is here. Welcome. Raider Nation 91's here. I agree. The AMP missions need an overhaul. The game has restaurants in my area that have been closed down for a while now. Interesting. That's interesting. That's the first I've heard of that. People, I can understand that maybe a restaurant had paid to be part of the program and maybe paid for half a year or something like that. And then they closed down and, the advertisement was still going, but the place is closed down. That's interesting, though. First time I heard of that. Donnie says, Annalise, is Belgium on the list on being added to Atlas Earth? I have to go there. I think it's mapped out. Annalise says it's in the mapping process. I just don't have a date that it will be mapped or available in the app stores. The process is interesting because, first of all, the country gets mapped out, right? And then it becomes available. So after it's mapped out, if you go on holiday or if you just go on a trip over to a country that's mapped out, you can buy parcels, you can buy badges, right? So you can take over different mayorships and stuff. But it's not officially live until they say it's live, which means that the app is on the App Store for people in that area, that country, to actually download on their mobile and start playing. So the process is interesting. But yeah, it looks like it's in the mapping process or mapped out. So you may be able to buy parcels or badges. As I always say, going on holiday or going on a trip is the best time to buy badges. Brandon says, do I need background app refresh on my AE? I'm trying to extend my iPhone last a little longer on my iPhone battery health is at 86%. I don't know. I don't find that Atlas Earth uses overly a lot of battery life for me, but you could also try turning off apps in the background when you're not using them. And going into your battery settings and messing around with them, seeing what'll help out. Arbin says, I'll be happy if I can buy some one land for selling, but nobody wants to buy my parcels. Yeah, that's the thing we've been talking about this last week. I did an episode on that. I think you commented. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the big change, in Atlas, in the abuse of the situation. I can see why they have to work on it, trying to save the game, right? I still think it's a feature worth saving in the game. Obviously, nobody's buying parcels these days, right? Because that's a forward-looking feature in the game. That's a feature that becomes more important as the parcels in your area dwindle. You get fewer and fewer parcels available. That means the more people are buying parcels, it's becoming more popular in your area. Obviously, this is going to happen in large cities. Look downtown New York City and places like that. A lot of parcels are being bought up, right? At a certain point, there's just not going to be any parcels left, right? And at that point, people are going to want to turn around and start reselling to make a profit so that they can buy parcels elsewhere. The other situation is if it's an area where it's kind of has some kind of importance to you, where you may pay a little bit extra for that parcel. It's a popular place for you. It has some kind of significance, right? So we talked about that in that episode. Kelly K is here. Welcome, Kelly. Says, hi, just want to say thanks for doing these live streams. I always enjoy watching them as well as your other videos. Well, thanks, Kelly. Thanks for dropping by. Always appreciate it. Nick's here. Nick Gray says, I started playing in April of 2023. I just finally reached 150 parcels and 11 badges. Well, like I said, everybody's got their own rate of play, right? Everybody plays a little bit different. Caveman says, I cashed out to Cash App twice. However, 98% has been reinvested. Caveman goes on to say, however, my new plan for the time is to just save a year worth minus a couple dollars a month for challenges. I would just enjoy more functionality, even if at the cost of extra ads. Hey, Ann's here. Ann is a supporter of the channel. I appreciate it, Ann. Says, thanks for the stream, feeling connected and encouraged. Yeah, I mean, coming out of the AMA, it didn't give me a whole lot of information, but I got a good feeling from it. I got a good feeling from Sami. And also, a couple days before that, I had done the whole numbers video where I looked at kind of the health of Atlas Earth. And it was very encouraging to see the sheer number of times Atlas Earth has been downloaded and installed on mobile. It's great. I mean, they're approaching having a million active users per month. Think about that. Heidi says, I like the idea of watching an ad to cut your remaining time until next ad cut in half. Other apps have something like that. Well, I'm sure they would consider it. I mean, anything that, it all comes down to profit, right? A certain amount comes down to improving the app, making it better for people to play. But let's be real here. It's a business and it all comes down to profit, right? So if you have a question why something's being done or why something's not being done, always look at the dollar signs. Caveman says, and I believe they could implement the build your own LPUs and the walk feature with a ton of ads to increase their own income while adding a ton of functionality to the build. Probably. It would just take work, right? As with everything. Brandon says, would you consider showing comments and questions on screen? You've asked that before, I believe. I have them live. See, when you're on the live stream and you're on your side, you see the questions, comments. I know what you mean as far as having them pop up. I should. I just haven't got that far into being a live streamer to have that happen. So if anybody on the live stream knows an easy way to make that happen, let me know. I know what you're talking about, Brandon, but I frankly just don't know of an easy way to do it. Caveman says they would, of course, have to put a daily, weekly, and monthly cap per user so that ecosystem could stay balanced, obviously, yeah. Preview this says, do both. I agree with Bronze. I should have taken this advice last time. Brandon says, I would like to see in-game chat in Atlas Earth. That would be interesting. I don't know exactly what this whole new feed. I know we talked about the sharing of videos and things like that, but I don't know what else is involved. DJ Dubstomp says, I don't remember my referral code. Caveman says, I'm basically using Amazon to get situation necessities. Then my receipts pay me Amazon and Google Play credit. I'm considering using free credit towards AE. I will do a review after my year subs. Nice. That's interesting. Maybe the new referral system is part of the community update. Makes sense. NCE says, I used to live next to a major metropolitan area and I was mayor with 700 parcels. I recently moved 1,000 miles away and somebody creeped over 702 parcels. I have 30K Atlas bucks saved up. Thinking if I should start over in my new area or wait until I go back when I was the mayor for 6 months. I only got 80 Atlas bucks, so it's not super worth it. Yeah, you kind of have to look at these mayorships and see which are worth fighting for and which are not. Because really, the only thing you get out of a mayorship is when somebody buys a badge. I wish there was like some kind of other thing you got out of it. But there isn't. And Sherry says, Sherry and Annalise agree that it's Atlas reality. I thought it was, but then I got corrected by somebody, so it got me wondering. Caveman says, unless you are selling a landmark, unofficial landmark parcel, or hostage somebody, I do not see anyone buying anytime soon either. Well, like I said, it's a forward-looking thing. I can see in certain areas when you scroll around the map, it mostly, this statement is to big cities. The parcels are being bought up. The game is really popular, and it's continuing its popularity. So obviously, if you live out in the country, no, you're not seeing this. But take a trip downtown and look at the parcels, right? Donnie says, badges is no problem for me here. If I had the Atlas buck, I could buy 100 badges in 4 hours time. Lots of small villages, and I only have 2 or 3 houses. That's nice. That's interesting, because around here, I have to drive like 45 minutes just to get to one badge. Bloodcrow asks Annalise, ever talked to the dev team about the World of Warships thing yet? I like World of Warships. Well, I used to like it. There's been some changes in the past couple years that really have, I'm not playing it as much as I used to. I don't know how that can feed into Atlas Earth, though. Annalise answered, Bloodcrow is on my list to talk about, but we haven't talked about that item specifically. Hey, Snowballs is here. Welcome, Snowballs. You made it. 4 minutes left. Azor says, I wish we could top off boost before bed, but Manning said no in the past. Yeah, I mean, that's probably something that they could revisit. I don't know. Like if you wanted to do an ad and not get, maybe you got a half hour. You can top up and watch an ad. I don't see anything wrong with that. It might be something on the back end that they have to adjust, but I think that the company would come out ahead on that. So you'd be watching an ad for just a half hour worth of boost or whatever. Logan says, well, it was fun. I'll see you guys on the Atlas Discord. Have a good day, Logan. Heidi says, rather than a referral code, they should give us a QR code. Yeah, I mean, QR codes are handy, but QR codes is also, you have to be really, there's a lot of bad things that can be done with referral code, or not referral codes. There's a lot of bad things that can be done with QR codes. So you just looking at a QR code, you can't tell what that's going to lead you to. You could open up a QR code and it could take you to a malicious website, So I don't use QR codes a lot, and I don't trust QR codes a lot, unless it's from like a major company. I don't know. I have a hard time trusting QR codes. It's like I have a hard time trusting links, because you've got to really read the link or know where it's going before you can trust it, right? You can do the same thing with a QR code that you can do with a link. In other words, malicious software installations, things of this nature. Nick says, I'm getting a little more active on the game, treating it in the same way I treat my stocks, reinvesting my rent to get more parcels and therefore more rent. Yeah, part of the game. Preview this says something ads was mentioned in AMA. Sami did mention both the not safe for work and a certain ad supplier without mentioning by name that they are going to get rid of it. Yeah, we know we're having problems with certain ads, and this is something that is on Annalise's plate, and people report these ads, and obviously some of them, I haven't really had a not safe for work ad pop up. I've had some kind of broken ads and things like that I've reported that didn't close out right or something like that. And I've had ads where you watch a 30-second or watch a 10-second, then it feeds into another 10-second, then it feeds into a 30-second, then it feeds into a minute. And I've had those type of ads before, but I've never really had a not safe for work one. But I think a lot of times, this could rely upon pulling your whatever you surf for on your main phone. They may pull from that, and you know how that goes. So be careful. Reporting that could be reporting on yourself what's in your main search history. Brandon says, I wish I can do comments with my Apple TV remote instead of AirPlay with my iPhone or iPad. Caveman says, a cool feature would be if they would add to the website is maybe a Flappy Bird game or a no internet dino game. Yeah, it might be interesting. But he did say that he's considering the whole rework of all the mini games. And the whole idea was making them more fun to play. I think it all boiled down to that, right? JC says, I've always wanted to know, are the diamonds in the same place for everyone? And if someone grabs a diamond, does it go away on my game? I don't know. I do know that they are kind of random, but I can say that the ones around my house seem to pop up in the same locations. Like there's two locations which they'll pop up, and I can see them sitting here in my office, but I can't get to them. I'd have to walk all the way to the front of my property, and it kind of makes me frustrated. But I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. Donnie says, I bought 10 parcels at a fire station, 1 legendary, 6 epics. Nice. Makes me wonder to drive to the next fire station. Caveman says that's the bad part about using NFC business cards. People either do not know how to use it, or they think they're charging them money for no reason. Blood Crow says, I have had it where I watch an ad and I get only a partial hour boost, like 5 to 10 minutes. Annalise followed up, says, diamonds populate in the same place on all devices, but many players can collect the same diamond. Oh, that's interesting. And DJ Dubstomp says, I have played while walking with friends, and it seems like we've all got the same diamond before. And Caveman Cannabis gets the last word of the day. First of all, I want to say thanks to everybody for dropping by as always. Please remember to leave a like because that helps out, and please subscribe if you haven't already. We do have this meeting every week on Sundays at noon Eastern time. So if you can stop by, it's always a good discussion. And they've been getting bigger. You know, I'm looking at the numbers here. We went over 60 people today, so that's a great crowd. Caveman finishes off by saying they need to give us a reason to visit the site. Otherwise, only those of us in the know the site exists or that it's cheaper. Yeah, I do try to talk about it once in a while, but I also try to vary up what I talk about, so I'm not talking about the exact same thing. I do think that along with the refresh of the app, they need a refresh of the website. Okay. That's the live stream for this week. Once again, thanks for dropping by. I hope your coming week is great. And as always, I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And I'll see you in Atlas Earth.